Hello. So, I've talked a bit about Age of Empires and stuff, and oh, yeah, just so you know, we've been redecorating in my room. But, more importantly, we talked a bit about Age of Empires on this channel before, and well, I also have some thoughts a bit, because one thing perhaps a lot of fans were disappointed by was the fact there never really was a sequel to Age of Mythology, which is a kind of light-hearted game in a similar style to Age of Empires, with a few extra mechanics like god powers, myth units. I mean, yeah, I could imagine there might be a few problems with trying to do Age of Mythology. If you did it the same way Age of Empires did, where Age of Mythology II would move on to the next stage, well, you'd either run into the problem of you would be covering the medieval era with Christianity and Islam being some of the big religions, and even if you coded them as like Franks and Saracens or something like that, you can imagine the problem. Plus, of course, well, they're monotheistic religions, and yeah, religion, mythology, as well as that being a problem, there aren't really any minor deities with a monotheistic religion. But you could just do the alternative, you know, instead of it being all focused around, say, here, go around and focus on the New World. Almost a bit like Age of Empires 3, but at least initially. Then, of course, might be the simple question, well, what do you do with Age of Mythology there? Would it be much different to basically just a DLC pack? And then you'd be wondering, well, why can't I bring my Egyptians, Greeks and Norse to fight against the Aztecs? But, so then I thought, well, what if we advance further in history? I know, the Age of Enlightenment, and then the problem of myth beasts come along. What myth beasts do you have? And I thought, wait a minute. If we keep going, you know, with the whole internet age, and of course the culture war, that broke out, or was often said to have done. And let's face it, it gives us all enough grief when we're grief with people get all that stuff, but although you can avoid it. Working on a video on that, stay tuned. But what if we took all these two things and made a mythology out of them? I started thinking about it in my head. You know, I mean, like back in 2014, I'd started working on these ideas, and I mean, I was going to tell you more about it earlier on, but one of the factions became there are a few, you know, basically history sort of got in the way, part of the reason. Yes. But, more to the point, we have an idea for mythology with the modern era. You know, all your favourite characters of the internet mythology age fighting against each other. You know, you could train up the woke agenda and it can go boof, boof, and fight against gameplay over politics or something like that. And you can have all sorts of these other myths floating around, and have helicopter parent fly. You know, I even thought of the idea. Yeah, so for example, one of the possible things being that, yeah, you could bring in some of the old Norse units from the original game, summoned by a shaman, to fight in an approxima of our time for the Soviet Union. Yes, there's a reason. Anyway, I digress. To have this throwing axeman summoned into the future to fight for the Soviet Union, and they're told to fling an axe at a helicopter parent as they're swooping in trying to grab one of the motherland soldiers, screaming, "How do I explain this to my child?" Does that sound fun? Well, we can talk a bit more about it other times, so I'm going to tune up these ideas and have a bit of, make sure they're more and more fun, and stay tuned for that. And whether that sounds fun or whether not, it was lovely having you here.